Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ant. Today I'm going to be talking about SNDL once more, Sundial Cannabis. I've done a couple of videos on this, a few actually before, so you'd find my previous one in the description below if you'd like to watch it afterwards. Make sure to subscribe, notifications on, and let's jump right into this one. So Sundial Cannabis, covered this one extensively. Today's video, the objective here is to look at what their strategic investment is, their sentiments overboard from the news and the coverage that they're getting, how has it changed, and then moving on towards technical analysis. And I will mention the earnings, even though I discussed it last video and the video before. So for Sundial Cannabis, if you don't know what Sundial Cannabis is, they work in weed. They have different brands under them: Grasslands, Palmetto, Sundial, BC Weed, and Top Leaf, and different products such as vapes, pre-rolls, concentrates, flowers, list goes on. And some of their recent strategic investments, and here I'm just going to go ahead and name a few. So just to name a few: Simply Solventless license agreement. So these guys, yep, I am legal. Yep. So these guys work with extracts of cannabis, etc. So that can bring things such as utilizing Rocky View assets while enhancing its focus on production of premium inhalables. Could be as well including in the beverages lines, etc. And then moving on, this was a $22 million strategic investment in Indivia. And Indivia works in edibles, things like gummies, other things as well that they do have as well is chocolates, and the list goes on, buds, etc. And so in a way, they might be a little bit of competitors, but they have things like chocolates. But Sundial as well has different brands that overlap. But nonetheless, Sundial is actually going ahead and buying all these different companies, or at least investing in them underneath. And then moving on, you have the launch of the premium concentrates products under its Top Leaf brand. And that the next thing going over is their expansions of Palmetto that is going to be available from coast to coast in Canada. And so you get to see that they are in this growth stage. And definitely the price action movement that a lot of people have drove it up to almost $4. They really benefited out of this. And I'll explain that in a second. And then the next is Sundial expands into the edible market with chocolate collaboration. And so as a part of the contractual agreement, Sundial and Chocolate will launch a cannabis-infused brand offering a selection of chocolate bars, drinking chocolate, and infused sugars, all containing 10 milligrams of THC, the highest amount legal to sell in a single edible serving in Canada. Both companies expect to scale the collaboration across the country, with the first product targeting to be in stores ahead of the holiday season in Alberta. And this is the Chocolate website. The finest cocoa beans in the world, etc. It looks like it actually does have a good percentage of satisfaction. User for own chocolate, 99%, branding, 95%, and average customer ratings at 92%. So that's a good rating to have. They look like a solid company in the middle of Alberta. Moving on now towards institutional buyers. You see, institution is a little bit mixed, I would say more bullish than bearish, and that's definitely a good thing. I always like seeing more people adding in terms of institution. And before going on ahead, let me just highlight one thing that I started noticing in different articles that I keep reading on Sundial. They used to bash Sundial so much, saying it's worthless, etc. And then one thing that Sundial did that was very smart. In the last move, when we jumped to $4 and stuff and on the way up, they released a lot of offerings. Offerings very similar to the one right here that they released on the 3rd. They have a shelf of 150 million proposed offering there, and they're ready because guess what? It wasn't hidden. It was public information that they were struggling in parts of their balance sheet. And that is something that is there in the industry itself. It's a very competitive industry, the cannabis one in Canada. And what they did was they raised a lot of money, that they raised all the debt, and they have enough cash. And definitely, such as this article here by Investor Place, they capture that. Zuniac believes that the financial house cleaning of CEO Zach George performed over March of 2020. It eliminated $227 million in debt to be debt-free, with 617 million Canadian dollars, around 488 million US, in cash on his balance sheet. This puts Sundial in an excellent position to consolidate a lot of the little players that aren't of interest to the big boys and would otherwise likely go out of business. And so really what things are going to happen there is they're going to go ahead and they start buying basically smaller different companies, perhaps ones that are struggling or going out of business at a discount, and expanding their position. And this actually includes going on towards the US if the US basic law provides there is legislation on a federal level of the decriminalization of marijuana. Now, I did mention that in my last video, but we see states like New Jersey signing the legalization of marijuana, yet we don't have really any updates regarding on the MORE Act that I discussed before, which is the decriminalization of marijuana in the US. But there has been rumors and talks that, hey, it's actually getting closer to go back to the Senate and go for a vote. So we're still looking on that. And before we move on towards technical analysis, just remember, earnings are going to be out for the full year in the fourth quarter at the end of the day on March 17th, 2021. So after market closes, so you can expect around 4 o'clock, and thereafter we're going to be getting that earnings. And the next conference will be 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time the next morning on the 18th. Just keep that in mind and let's jump right into technical analysis. And before doing so, please make sure to subscribe and notifications on. It helps my channel a lot more than you can think of. And if you'd like to join our Discord, that is totally free. It's more of a chat room where you can ask me more questions. Feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can comment down your questions. I will try to get to them as fast as I can. On a 1 week perspective, we get to see that the 10 SMA is actually above the 30 EMA. Amazing, that's bullish. The price point is above the 50 SMA. The trading action zone where positive reversals are likely is between the $1.15 and the 91 cents. In terms of the ADX, we see that on 1 week perspective, that trend, the uptrend, is not yet broken. Meanwhile, on the William %R, this one is beaten down, so it's oversold. A correction would bring more buyers in, theoretically. In the MACD here, what we're seeing is that it is climbing back up. It's rejected that decline towards the negative, and it's not going to see a reversal here. In terms of the momentum, we're seeing it's building up momentum. It's still above 0, so that's a bullish thing. On a 1 day perspective, we're seeing that it's attempting a positive reversals next week, coming in Monday, and that's a bullish thing. The moving averages were about to go bearish. Currently, and on the neck of time, they are bullish, and that's amazing. 10 SMA and 30 EMA are touching. 30 EMA is a little bit below the 10 SMA, and that's a good thing. And what we're seeing here is that the ADX is retracting a little, but the William %R is a bit overbought. The momentum here is around 0, so it is still not negative, so that's still a bullish thing. Overall, it looks like it really is beginning to become bullish. On a 2 hour perspective, things are looking really bullish. The moving average band, we'll check that in a second, sorry. The trading action zone is between 139 and 134. That means if it does dip with that region, you can start expecting positive reversals. The rest doesn't tell us much. On the moving average band now, we get to see that this one is expected to trade on the 159 at the top, 144 in the middle, and 130 in the bottom. Today, it traded within the bottom of the moving average band, and this might be a sign that it will become more predictable. Now, on the stochastic fast and stochastic slow, we're seeing that this one, it looks like it is on the verge of an outbreak. It's curving up after accumulated here, and we've seen a bunch of bullish kickers, so things might look interesting soon. In terms of Fibonacci retracements, we see a significant support at the $1.03. Significant resistances, $1.59, $2.04, $2.50, $3.14, and $3.96. And what we can go ahead next is go ahead with price line actions and see significant resistances first. 144 seems to be a big resistance, followed by $1.66, followed by $1.95, followed by $2.20, and then up to the $3, and then $4. Significant supports, 134. And then below there, you're looking down to 120. Below there, you're looking at 113. Below there, you're looking at 94 cents, 79 cents. You're going down to 50 cents, 41, and then down to 21. And then it comes to the question to Ed, what do you think? So for this one here, this is the current trend line that I would still trust. I would say that it is still within that moving channel that we drew previously a while ago. And as long as it's still in this uptrend, I see that SNDL is actually has a bright future ahead of it. In the longer term, it looks like they have enough cash, a lot of cash. They're debt free. They're going ahead and acquiring all these strategic companies. And it looks like this massive push around the $4 and their way of reaching compliance right away. So they have compliance. And as well as releasing all these offerings and getting cash to survive and expand. It's definitely a smart move, and I'm impressed. I would say that. So I definitely think that they have a really good chance on becoming a larger company in terms of market cap. And I'm really excited to see the next earnings, given that their earnings are not going to show all these investments, but at least will give us a good preview, and they will talk about the outlook for 2021, and I'm excited about that. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure to put it down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. Have a wonderful day.